Hey Vsauce, Michael here. Have you ever wondered who the most famous Briton ever is? Well, wonder no more, because we're about to find out. Today, I have a couple of experts with me who are very eager to share their knowledge with us. So, when you talk about the most famous Briton, who comes to mind? Charlie Chaplin, Winston Churchill. But do many children know these people? Let's ask an expert.
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no, no, to the no, no. Hell to the no, no, to the no, 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 no. Hell to the no, no, to the no, no, no.
Yes, I agree. So, I guess we'll have to look for someone who's both famous amongst children and adults. So who could that be? Well, after a lot of scientific research by this young man, we've come to the conclusion that there could only be one person that's qualified for being the most famous Briton ever. That's right, it's King Arthur. So we went around and asked a couple of people, what do you think of our pick as King Arthur as the most famous Briton in the history of the United Kingdom?
Hey, that's pretty good.
And of course is he the most qualified, most logical option to carry the title of most famous Briton ever. He is not only known amongst all age groups, he also inspires a lot of people, including me and this young lad from America.
Have you ever had a dream that you had you could you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
That was truly inspiring. Well, what did King Arthur do to become this popular? Well, he was king. That grants him a few bonus points, and he had this thing with the round table where everyone felt like equals. Pretty cool, and he did some heroic stuff. Well, I could talk about him for hours, even days. But we actually have footage from King Arthur on his quest to retrieve the Holy Grail to some of his knights. And though many critics don't think the footage is real, because it was 15th century and, cameras weren't invented, but let me show you the footage and let me change your mind. This footage reveals a whole new side of King Arthur, a side we previously had never known existed. I mean, the stories tell us he was an excellent fighter, but in the clip I'm about to show you, yes, there is even more footage. You will see just how smart and witty he also was. He was a true great king.
Stop! What is your name?
It is Arthur, King of the Britons,
What is your quest?
to seek the Holy Grail.
What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
What do you mean? An African or European swallow?
Huh? I don't know that.
Well, from this footage we can conclude a couple of things about King Arthur. So first of all, he's an excellent fighter, and second of all, he's extremely smart. We can confirm that now. Third of all, we now know certainly that he was a king. Well, he introduces himself as a king, so I guess we'll have to take his word for it. And fourth of all, with 100% certainty, we can now say that he is definitely called Arthur. So, how can someone like that not be the most famous Briton, you ask? Well, there is no counter-argument. He is the most famous Briton ever, and you can now cast your vote on King Arthur for the most famous Briton ever. All you have to do, and this is not a joke actually, there is a new King Arthur movie coming out this year in 2017. So all you have to do is purchase a ticket for that movie and you'll automatically give money to our organization, which we will definitely use to make King Arthur the most famous Briton ever. And to further expand on the life of King Arthur, I will give you a short version of the impressive life that he lived. Okay, So when King Arthur was only 3 years old, he was born in the small place we now call Great Britain. When he was only 5 years old, he pulled out a sword from a rock, and we now call that rock Excalibur. When he was 7 years old, he went on an adventure with his sword, because they were best friends, to find the Holy Grail, with a couple of knights to help him. When he was only 13 years old, he died of old age. All these facts might seem a little too impressive or too good to be true, but I found them at www.realfactsontheinternet.co.uk, so there's no reason to doubt them. And if you are, after all of this, still not convinced that King Arthur is by far the most famous Briton that ever lived, well, I've got a clip of the President of the United States talking about King Arthur just for you.
He's a great guy.
So I told one of my experts that there were people that actually thought King Arthur was not the greatest Briton ever, and this was her reaction.
Disgusting!
And if that doesn't convince you, I don't know what will. And as always, thanks for watching.